So I had this crazy experience where I walked across America. And I had a sign on my back that said, "Walking to Listen." I had just graduated from college, and I had all the questions that all young people have, at some level of who am I and what am I doing here? What is going on, And how do I come of age? How do I become the adult that's going to take me through the rest of my life? What does that even mean to become an adult, And so I decided I was going to walk out my mom's back door and try to see each and every person as my teacher. So put on this perspective of walking to listen. Listening first. Making of myself a trustworthy listener such that the people I meet would entrust what they've lived to me, Because we need each other to grow. We need each other to heal. We need each other to evolve and understand, And I definitely did. I was 23. And so I walked out her door. And what ensued was almost a year long, 4,000-mile trek across America, during which I encountered all different kinds of human beings, each their own unique wellspring of wisdom. Wisdom. The thing that happens when you are living your life and paying attention. And I want to share the story of the last day of this walk, and the invitation that it became for me. And I think it's an invitation I want to offer to you. I had carried a backpack across most of America, but I started pushing my backpack in a baby stroller somewhere in Texas. And I was walking on the highways, so I looked ridiculous, pushing this little baby stroller across the desert. And I was coming down the mountains into Half Moon Bay and near San Francisco, and sort of clogging up traffic a little bit because there wasn't much of a shoulder on this little highway and coming into town. And someone had called the police and said, yeah, there's a guy pushing his baby on the highway, So sure enough, there was a squad car waiting for me at the edge of town. And they get out their car and come toward me, and they go, yeah, we got a call about a guy, and we think it's you, pushing his baby on the highway. And I'm like, no, it's not a baby, it's just my backpack. You may not believe this, but I am like 10 minutes away from having finished walking across America. Like, almost there. And they go, are you serious? I'm like, I swear to you. They confer with one another for a second. And they go, get going, man. We're not going to stop you now. Come on, go. I'm like, thanks. Like pushing my baby stroller. And coming into town. And suddenly I start seeing people I recognize among the people of Half Moon Bay. I see some folks who put me up in the Central Valley of California. They had driven out to be there with me. I saw a guy who put me up in Alabama. He had flown out to be there with me to finish this walk across America. My coming of age journey. And suddenly I see my dad. There he is, my stepmom. So it's like I'm rolling deep with an entourage at this point. And some Navajo friends who I met when I was walking across the Navajo reservation had reached out to me to say, we want to help you finish your walk with a ceremony. I didn't know what that meant, but I said, of course. And so they were there at the beach waiting for me, these two brothers, middle-aged men, dressed in beautiful ceremonial garb. Michael had a drum that he started to play when he saw me, and he started singing. And Chris started sprinkling a path of cornmeal before me, and before all of us, to kind of bless the last steps into this big circle of people who were waiting. And I was led out into the middle of the circle and cried like a man, just receiving the beauty of this moment. It's something that each one of us deserves to experience and needs to experience. You know, that feeling of being encircled, seen, celebrated, loved, accepted. You belong here. We need you here. Thank you for your work. Not just me, each one of us. They led me down to James, the father of Chris and Michael, Navajo elder. And they're at the very end of the land where the sea begins. He said, when you walked through our land, I called you Boy Who Walks. And you've got a new name now, Hastin Niha Nagahi. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that quite right, but Hastin Niha Nagahi, man who walks for us. And that's who walked into the water, and that's who I try to become every day, you know. And that's the invitation. Can you be man who walks for us, woman who walks for us, one who walks for us? What would the world look like if we all lived that way? How would things change if we were living for us? Not for some of y'all, not for you, and not for me, but for all of us. And we get to explore that work in the context of our own personal little lives, one moment to the next. Truth and reconciliation must happen now, you know, in this moment. Connection now. Conversation now. So the eternal question, the question that is always present, whether we realize it or not, is, am I listening? Am I living for us? And if not, why? And then that becomes a whole exploration of its own. What I found on this walk, this journey that transformed me, was a whole other way of relating with people. When you show up to them, number one, just got to start with showing up, with the intention to listen, with the intention to really see them in the same way that I was seen in that circle, to see them. To care about what they have to say, even if you disagree with them. To get connected to the foundation of what matters here. Because the fact is, we're here together. Like it or not, we're here together. And the people who, you wish you could delete from the story, or wish weren't here, are perhaps the ones that you need to get to know the most. And so listening is the way to begin this work of learning how to live for us, walk for us. So walk with me. I'm not even going to ask you, will you? I'm saying walk with me for us. And begin by listening. Just begin with listening.